Keith Saarloos. Welcome to Saarloos Sons. Come on in.
Tell me, how long have you guys been into this?
So we are celebrating our 25th year of farming. We've been making wine since 2003, which that was not the goal. And this place has been open for 16 years. So feels like a long time, but feels also very short.
Yeah, so you're saying we started farming, so like what does that mean before the grapes?
So Saarloos Sons is kind of an homage to my grandfather, my great-grandfather, my dad, everybody in our family. So my great-grandfather farmed in Iowa. He died when my grandpa was young. He was on his own since he was 8. So farming never killed my grandpa. That's a weird, scary way to put it, but he loved farming. And my dad wanted to become a farmer, became a farmer. We started by growing 14,000 Fuji apple trees, and we failed at it. So we tore them all out, replanted them in grapes, and we were selling our fruit to other people. And that's kind of like digging for oil, and then all the real money's in the gas station. So we moved up here full time about 22 years ago, and this is how we feed our kids. You know, it's not a passion project of a billionaire. It's from our plow, literally to your porch, it's just Saarloos Sons. We do everything in between.
I seem to remember this being actually my doctor's office.
Yeah. What's crazy, in this back room here, where our back bar is, we've had a couple of people that have come in and have been born in this room, which is crazy. Because this used to be a doctor's office. It was a room for let, because this building was built in 1886. And the train used to run right in our field right here. And everybody, this was kind of like a support building for the train yard. And then it became a doctor's office. It's been, some people think a house of ill repute, which I'll go with. But originally, this is kind of a cool one. Like right here on our bathroom, this is the Glasgow house. This is the original door knocker that was on the front of the building. Yeah, so this building holds a lot of history, and we've kind of rebuilt it. And our goal with everything that we do is we honor the past and prepare for the future, which is our family's creed, which is we live to honor those that have come before us, and we prepare the way for those yet to come. So everything we do is to maintain that honor from the building. We try to keep it as perfect as we possibly can, but if somebody walked in here from 1886, they'd feel just as comfortable in here today as somebody in 2025. So this building has become kind of our tasting room. This is, as we like to say, it's our glorified farm stand. And this is where we kind of open our door every single day, throw a little bit of a party. Anybody who walks in is absolutely welcome, and we get to share the things we're doing out in the vineyard that I love. I love the farming part of it most of all. I mean, if I didn't have to do this and I could just do farming, I probably would do that. But I have to be a farmer with customer service and marketing and everything in between. So this is where we give our farming a shot at immortality. So this is a wine called 18. My daughter made it when she was 18. This is a wine for my mom. This is for my son, my nephew. That's an ugly guy. Honor Prepare is our creed, and our loose bubbles. And every year we kind of burn this whole place to the ground, and brand new labels, brand new everything. So we try to, like in this one, this is kind of an homage to my grandparents' marriage. And when we first started, we started celebrating every year of their marriage, and that's their marriage certificate. That's the knife that they use to cut their cake. So it's my way to hold on to all the things that my grandparents thought were important and saved, and now we have a showcase for it. This over here is actually super interesting. This is all from my great uncle John, who died in World War II. And we went back for the 75th anniversary of D-Day, and we've been making this wine for years now. And this is our way to keep John Saarloos' legacy alive, because when my great-grandpa died, John took over the farm, my grandpa worked with him. And so that's his Purple Heart, it's his dog tag, Purple Heart letter. We're part of the Medal of Honor Foundation. That's a Medal of Honor coin. We were honored enough to make the official Ronald Reagan wine, our most famous resident. And this is his letter signed by FDR about when he passed away. Yeah, the more you walk around here, the more you see it's a living legacy all in one.
When you first started going after this, you're like, I'm gonna just put my family on the bottles, or how did that come about?
You know, I thought I had one shot at this, honestly, because when we started this, I'm probably the only person that's ever started a winery broke. And it was 2008, you know, way back when we opened this place in particular. And wine, when you think about it, there's so much pretense that comes along with it. Like, I don't know enough to enjoy this or like it or whatever. But since I didn't know a lot, but I was growing it, you know, that's kind of like writing the songs versus performing the songs. And the songwriting is the hardest part. And we were already doing that. And so when we opened this place, I figured I had one shot at it. I think we were the first people ever to put pictures on wine bottles, because I kept, you know, sending it in and they said, no, because the front of your bottle has to have all of this information. But that's actually the front of my bottle with all the government information and everything. And that's the back. And we had to, you know, I'm a juvenile delinquent, so I'll figure out the way around the corner. And I figured out that if we just took the labels and I put the front label here and the rear label here, when you send it in to get approved, they couldn't technically say no. So technically say no is kind of like my middle name. So I figured I had one shot at this. And if I have one shot at this, I'm gonna put people on it like John Saarloos that I wanted to remember. Like, this is one of our first wines we ever made. Or I put, you know, my grandparents' wedding photo on it. And for me, like, I don't know how to run a winery, right? This is basically a skate shop that sells wine. And I just wanted to put people I cared about so that when other people saw our wines, they knew that there was people behind it. Because in this industry, this is the only industry where the biggest, most massive companies want to tell everybody that they're this little teeny company. But we are that little teeny company. We're too small to fail. So everything we do is completely burn the ships, bring it all back down to zero. Every single one of our wines every year has a new face, a new label, a new story. If it was just wine, I wouldn't be doing this. But it has come to this place where wine is the vehicle to be able to share our story, to be able to share our brand, all the hard work that we put into it, our family. You know, people have seen my kids grow up on a bottle, and we have that connection, which to me makes all of this worth it. Makes all the crazy, psychotic amounts of hard work worth it. The truth of all of this stuff is, what I'm proud of is everything in our family, every person in our family has a piece of this pie. And my kids help me make the wine, my cousins are involved. My mom, you know, sits out here most afternoons and has a glass of wine and holds court. My wife is an unbelievable designer, and she makes sure that this place doesn't look like a dorm room, because I would probably make it look like a dorm room pretty quick. And that is her mark.
Tell me about that. What started that, and how does that work out?
So the cupcake, again, most people are afraid of wine, right? Nobody fights over a wine list. And the truth of it, you should, because when you get together with a group of people or two people, right, and you open a bottle, you both get two glasses, right, and you're having a shared experience. The cupcakes enhance that, because Kevin and Amber, who have Enjoy Bagels, Enjoy Cupcakes, she came in, brought in these cupcakes. They, without a doubt, are the best in the world. I've tasted every cupcake in the world, and they're unreal. For 17 years, and not a gimmick, what we have is each one of these cupcakes, which you can see up there, it's like dragon passion fruit shard, citrus cookie, marshmallow mud pie, dark chocolate, blackberry syrah, tiramisu. Each one of these cupcakes pairs with each one of our wines. And so if you're brand new to wine, you're 21 years old, and this is your first sip of wine you've ever had in your life, right? You come in here and you can split them with a friend. You can have kids come in. Usually we have 50-50 kids and adults in this place, which is kind of rare for a winery. But when you taste through it, it really drops the pressure to zero, and you can just enjoy yourself. Because when you have friends come over to your house, the friends that stick around after the party's over, right, and help you clean up and do your dishes and stuff, and you open a real good bottle of wine, and you eat a bag of cookies or whatever you have in your pantry. That's kind of what this is. It's just like coming to somebody's house, hanging out, enjoying these. And the great part is we have kids that have been coming here for, 16 years. And they started off having the cupcakes while their parents were tasting and eating and having a great time. And now they're wine club members. They're part of our family. And this is our little way in, you know. It's different, it's unique, but it's not a gimmick. Like there's a real fine line between contrived and great, and these are just great. So for 16 years, we've been slanging cupcakes and wine. It's been pretty great. So one of the other things we like to do is we reduce, recycle, and reuse. So these are all of our wine bottles that we cut and then we turn them into candles. And there was a kid, 16 years ago, he was at Cal Poly, and he came in, he goes, hey, I want to do this. And I said, great, I'll be your customer. And so for 16 years, we've been using our spent or empty bottles, where usually people throw them away and they go into a landfill and everything else, but we have these unbelievable candles, and they have the scents are, I think I'm dead to it, but people walk in here and go, whoa. And what's great is it gives these bottles another like lease on life.
You have to relabel them?
No, we just cut the tops off, put the wax, so they're all soy candles, and they burn for about 40 hours, which is absolutely insane. So, you know, bang for your buck, our candles are pretty much it. And they have all pictures of people I love on them. So
kind of funny that people will buy a candle with like your nephew on it.
Well, that's my son. I mean,
that's your son.
So that's my son. Yeah. You know, there's a picture of my dad, but truthfully, you're right. It is weird that people buy a bottle, right? But what's interesting about, I think, us is we don't sell in any stores. We don't sell in any restaurants. The only way you can buy our wine is you have to come through this front door and online, right? But usually if you're finding us online, it means you've already been here or something. So the people who are buying these, you know who Cash is. They know who my dad is. I want people to buy into our family. You know, I want people to know that Brielle right there made that wine, and there she is standing on top of it. And when they bring it home, they're supporting a family. You know, hopefully that's where we're going, right? It's like when big box retailers are just selling things made in another country, there's no connection, right? And I think we are desperate for a connection. And when they find something that people feel connected to, you vote with your money. Right? You're happy to support them because you believe in the mission, you believe in what they're doing, and you want to see them succeed, right? And that's how I spend my money, right? I spend my money with local farmers, and like we raise local beef. I want to go to individual places, not chain stores, not chain restaurants. I like knowing the people behind the counter, and I think that's incredibly special. That's a one-to-one connection. You're not really buying a faceless product anymore, you're buying into a family.
I know you spend a lot of time promoting on Instagram.
Yeah.
And you write these long, pretty much every day.
Yeah.
Yeah, like tell me that.
Well, that kind of all started because well, number one, I'm highly dyslexic and I can't spell, and it's my first battle of the day. So usually it's like 4 a.m. I start it, and I take a lot of photos, photos of everything we do, and I always look at the photos from yesterday when I first wake up, and I try to find the best parts of yesterday, and I try to drag that into today. I try to leave everything else in the past, but drag the best parts in, and then. After I say my prayers and wake up, then it's like, no, I want to put something good into the world. And it's like chewing sand, but I write to the maximum every single day and try to get that thing out of me and pump myself up and get ready for the day and share with everybody, whoever wants to look. But what I love is it gives my kids in 10, 20 years, even from now, where they can look back and they can read their dad's like public journal, and anything they're going through, there's something in there, and they'll remember little pictures and things like that. And so, as I like to think of it, it's me holding the shield for them so that they can run free. And if they have any problems or questions, they've already read, both my kids. They've already read what I wrote, they already did, and they already have a thought process to it. And at the very end of the day, it hopefully makes everybody's lives a little bit better. You are responsible, I think, for every single one of these things. So You know, for me, I wear a lot of hats, you know, figuratively and non-figuratively. And we sell a lot, I mean, I feel like we sell a lot of merch, but all of our hats are meant to tell a little bit of a story. We have the one I'm wearing, this is Big Lair. So my dad passed away 5 years ago, and we've been making these hats with you guys ever since. And this is our way to kind of keep them close and keep them in front of people. It's a very hot seller. This is the non-affiliated sports ball hat. We made a purple hat with the Texas because half our family lives in Texas half the time. This is the Keith Saarloos hat, and this is kind of helping him out. And he also has a bunch of like merch and skate decks and water bottles and everything else. We have the sophisticated farmer hat. My dad loved this one. This was kind of like his personal one. The camo hat to go hunting in. Loose, which is pretty great because, you know, we live in Los Olivos, so this is kind of my daily driver, which you guys make and embroider, so thank you. I love this hat. It's perfect for summer. I mean, I'm always like this. If it's summer, I'm wearing that, and if it's winter, I'm wearing that. So golf is dumb. That's a fun hat. That pays for all my golfing. I just started golfing 2 years ago, and I just kept saying, golf is dumb. Why am I doing this? And the truth of it is, now I sell enough of those hats to pay for my green fees, so that feels pretty good. These are kind of our hats that, you know, our brand hat, our ranch hat that my mom wanted. You know, it's a beautiful, everybody buys one of these things, loves it, because I'm a deep dish kind of guy, and this is kind of like a little bit of thinner one. But these have been flying off the shelf. My mom comes in and grabs these all the time.
Tell me about your experience, like working with us. Like,
oh, you guys are the best. I mean, working with, you know, authentic leather patch hat company. Is that the right way to say it? Yeah, perfect. It's a little bit of a mouthful, but you know, working with you guys is awesome because it's frictionless, and that's the part I love, because I can come up with a silly design or a one-time thing or something we're going to do that, you know, maybe feels borderline illegal, and we'll make them. And I'll send you the design. I know that you're going to make it look perfect and sit perfect and everything. Pick a hat, pick a design, knock out 50 or 100 of them or however many, and you're like 3 days later, hey, come pick them up, and we have them, you know, on the shelf, on the website within 3 days. Like, you know, I thought of something 3 days ago, and here I am holding it in my hand. They're making sure that this isn't easy. I mean, if you look, it's like all the stitching, the hat, the quality, all of it is perfect. I mean, there's nothing about this hat that looks like it was made, you know, 3 miles away from me. This hat looks perfect. I'm proud to wear it, and I've never, not once, ever had one of the hats that you guys have ever made come back because, you know, something fell off or something broke or anything like that. It's just quality all the way through, and to be able to call somebody or send an email and go, hey, can I get 50 of these? Bang, bang. And you're like, pick them up in 3 days, whatever, is absolutely unbelievable. And they're all made in America by people I know. You know, I see the people who are sewing. I know them. I say hi, right? So it's very community. It's very American. You know, that's the best way I can say it. Yeah, so this is kind of our private room. So what we do on every Saturday morning at 10 a.m., if I'm in town or my son doesn't have a water polo game, then we do a free vineyard tour to anybody who wants to sign up. And I started doing that about a year ago, a little more than that, and because I realized that the term I've really hated, you know, since 2020 is social distancing, because social distancing really stuck. And what we really should have done was physical distance. So this is our way to, you know, get people back in together socially. You know, sometimes we have 12 people and sometimes we have 70. And we go through the vineyard, walk around for an hour, let everybody ask any question they want. I tell them why Santa Barbara County is the greatest place in the world to grow grapes. If God made a place to grow grapes, it's right here. Kind of give them all the history of geology, geography, weather, what makes truly this place second to none as far as it comes to growing grapes. And it's 25 years of what I've learned in about an hour. And we go out there and we walk around and see the things progress, and people come back, you know, every couple of months to see what's happening in the vineyard, which is actually really fun. And then we come back here, and then I personally lead everybody through a full tasting of every wine that we're pouring right now, and tell them the story and tell them where this came from and what they just saw and now what they're tasting in the bottle, so they have that one-to-one connection. People need to feel connected to the things that they're purchasing, or then it's just soulless commerce. And if it's soulless commerce, then what's the point? Might as well be ruthless and screw over as many people as you can to get as much money as you can, if that's the goal, right? But our goal is not that. Our goal is to share the very unique thing that we get to do every day that is incredibly hard and makes you want to quit all the time. But when you bring people out and you show them what you're doing, you get to see it through their eyes. And when you see it through their eyes, it really just renews the mission. These are ones that are maybe not special, but there's definitely some real special ones in here. So for sake of argument, this is one of the very first bottles we ever made, and I designed the label on Microsoft Word.
Should bring that back.
I know, well, it has our home phone number on the back of it, which is kind of weird. So that was one of the first wines we ever made. We got to make TCU's 150th anniversary wines. We make wines like you do, right? We make them for companies, special stuff, family reunions, all kinds of stuff. We do sell a barrel of wine, and we'll label it with exactly what you want. We did this one for Rawlings baseball gloves years ago. This was kind of the beginning of that little cash logo where we made a stamp.
How did you get a Rawlings, or is it through connection?
You know what? A lot of it is I'll tell you about our best customer, right? His name's Jack Berger at Berger Construction in San Diego. And he just came in one time and we were just talking across the bar about this and that. And he's like, oh, my daughter's wedding's coming up and I need to buy a bunch of wine for that, and I'd rather buy it from here. It's great. And then, that started off with hey, could you make it a private label one for just us, because I want to give them to all of our customers. And absolutely. And so now we hold a certain amount of wine every year just for those special projects, because there are, the customers who understand what we are deep inside, and they want to share it with their friends. This is a good example is we did the TCU 150th anniversary wine, and what I'm pretty stoked is this is the Estate Sauvignon Blanc. So my daughter made this, and when she was the year before, when she was a senior in high school, and then she chose to go here, and they wanted to do a 150th anniversary, totally unrelated, right? But here we are they were sharing and selling the wine that a freshman made, right? This one's another company we did it for, and this is called CGI, and if you look, it's when we make these, there's labels on some of our wines, but then here, this is, impossible to even scrape off with a knife, because we pre-make it. We take their design, similar to what you guys do. We screen print the bottle. This is actual gold. And then we put this in a kiln, we get it to molten, and then this bonds with the bottle. So it's not like we are just slapping a label on something we had, if you will. What we're doing is we are actually making a wine specifically for them with their bottle, with everything. It's not something you can just buy, right? It has to be made.
It seems like you've always spent the money on the label, right? Some of these I can't imagine were probably pretty expensive.
Yeah, well, a lot of it comes down to, I think we've done a lot of things first. We started doing these naked necks way before anybody else, because we actually take all of our bottles. Here's a pretty good one, where we actually push the cork down a little bit, so that foil piece that goes on top, like you see in a champagne bottle, right here. This all started because there was undulations in all the wines, because it wasn't perfect way back when. Right now we have machines and things like that, and they would cover it. So when people would pick up a bottle, this one maybe it was only there, and this one is there, and things like that. So they used to hide it, and now we don't really need to. This is pretty cool. So these are, the South Park guys have been here before, and SpongeBob, and all kinds of who's have come through here, and like you see, there's like most wineries have the exact same label and then they just change the year, and not us. It's like every year is completely brand new. It's completely from the ground up, something we want to talk about, something like, art progresses. And I view what we do in farming, this is, I don't paint, I don't play the guitar, but I'm pretty good on a tractor, right? So it's like, that's the paintbrush. And going from the tractor all the way to this, it still blows my mind, because like this photo here, which is like, that's a picture of Big Larry, my dad. And I took that picture with like a zip, click, Instamatic camera back in 2003. And this is our very first harvest. And this is the comeback from when we failed at farming apples, tore everything out, replanted it. And that's my dad literally looking down the barrel of his dream, right? And so, yeah, of course that deserves to be on a bottle. And so my dad was my farmer, because that was, his dream was to grow something from the ground and raise cattle. And roughly he was a little younger than me, and he did it. That's pretty audacious to say, I want to start farming at, 47 years old. I knew I wanted to raise my kids here, because it's undescribable, right? Now that I see the kids that have grown up here, and now that they're leaving, going off to college, they're just special people. They're unbelievable. And when he and my mom and everybody was, we're all here, my kids grew up in their shadow, right? And he's a big presence throughout town and everything else. And he passed away in an agricultural accident where he was helping move cattle on the ocean, and horse threw him. After he passed away, the difficulty of everything is the next day, like in my mind, it was like, okay, what do we do now, right? And when you say, what do you do now? My mind was, well, we're gonna grow these grapes, we're gonna harvest them, we're gonna make wine, we're gonna keep going. And as I like to say, I wasn't ready, but I was prepared, and that's part of honor and prepare, right? I was ready for it. So I just assumed his life, pulled that all on top of me, and it's just another part of what we do. And like, I think it's like less than a fraction of 1% of wines are estate. It means they grow it, they make it, they sell it. I would always say it was never my goal when I was 15 years old to become a farmer, but God made me a farmer. And so now it's like, farming, picking, it's still us, still doing all the hands-on work every single day. I got to go mow after this, making wine, we're running cattle. All of those bits and pieces come into like what our story is, because not only am I in the hats of like my son or my dad or the town or our community, which I try to be a big part of. I'm the holder of the legacy, because like if you look at this wall, these are all pictures of people in my family that made decisions in their life that have led to me sitting here talking to you. My grandpa didn't leave Iowa, I wouldn't be here. My grandma didn't come out with her family in a car with flat tires, I wouldn't be here. My mother grew up in Minnesota, and her grandparents lived in a sod house, like a house made of dirt, right? Unreal. And all of those decisions have kind of led to today. And my job is to hold it all together so that when I'm one of these black and white photos, or I'm whatever photo that people are looking back on 50 years from now, I get a look, my great grandkid gets to look and be like, yeah, that's the dude who held it together, and these are the people we know, and they can read the Instagram stories and know where our family's been and where we're going. And the Saarloos family is not a big name, it's not a celebrity name, it's nothing, but we're making it into something, which I'm pretty proud of.
I noticed, like, since your dad's passed, you've taken on that role of coming into the coffee shop, saying hi to everyone. Yeah. Like, you weren't doing that as much before, and because he was the one to sit down with everyone, ask everyone questions. He's interested about everything.
Totally, and that's the bit. A good way to describe that was he was at the point of his life where we sat at Ellen's once, and he goes, I hope you get to live long enough to see your kids become a success, because I know I have. And that was unbelievable to hear, right? With both me and Kirk and our families and wives and everything. And he was real proud of his grandkids and everybody else together. And when we lost him, our family kind of got together real tight, and we said, what are we going to do now? You know, where are we going here? And everybody kind of lined out where they wanted to go. And we have a great group chat, you know, messaging, and everybody's cheering for each other, and everybody's trying to help each other succeed in every single step. And so when you say I wasn't really like that, the truth of it, I didn't need to be, you know, because that was his job and that's what he was doing. And when he's gone, then it's like, well, who's going to do that for people? And that's the job, right? I didn't just inherit all the hard work that needed to get done, but I also shouldered the responsibility of being that little part in an overall machine of our community that was really important. And by being people's cheerleader or something, you know, my dad was always known for, if something really bad happens in your life, he'll be your first phone call. When your phone stops ringing, it starts ringing with his name, because he's like, how are you doing? What's going on? You're gonna get through this. You know, he became a cheerleader for so many people. And in his passing, I've just heard story after story after story of that. And in one regard, I would write about my dad before he was gone and the best possible version of him. And I saw him even elevate his game to become the person I was talking about. And in his absence, I realized I have to do that in my community, with everybody around me, and be everyone's first phone call. You know, if you're going through hard times, I'll call you. If you need to talk, you know where I'm going to be. And everybody's going through personal struggles. Everybody's working hard, but we're going to get through this. And not only are we going to get through it, we need to be working in abundance, right? There's two ways you can be. You can work in scarcity, and then you're hiding and you're hoarding and you're trying to cut people out, and almost like a dog that hasn't been fed, right? And then there's the other mindset of when you're working in abundance. And if you're working in abundance, you're doing all the things that you should be doing, and promoting yourself and doing the right stuff and telling people and putting in the extra hard work, because that just makes everybody around you feel a little bit better. So this is our backyard. So like we said, this was built in 1886, and we've kind of brought it back, hopefully to glory. And you know, we designed these chairs and build them, and it kind of wraps around to the back. But the thing I think I'm most proud of, that I like a lot, is this tree right here. Because palms like this are not native to California. And if you, around the Central Coast, whenever you see these palm trees, they're always planted by the ranch house, or the place you're supposed to end up. So if you were riding a horse years and years ago, and you would look across the plains or come over a hill, you could scan the horizon. If you saw palm tree, you knew that that was the place that people were. And this whole palm tree is because a squirrel from Maddie's Tavern over in 1886, when the stagecoach and the train was running through here, brought one of these little dates, or these little seeds, all the way back here and went underneath this garage, if you will. And this guy grew out inside of it. And now it's this beautiful shade palm that I absolutely love. And yeah, this is our backyard. This is our hangout area.
So you throw events back here? People just hang out here normally?
It's a lot of hanging out, and then we do a lot of rehearsal dinners. We've had a bunch of weddings here. It's a really cool, just like nice little area that keeps everybody together. As we like to think of it, it's like throwing a wedding at your friend's house, right? And everybody comes back, and picnic tables, and bring your lunch, and just sit out here and enjoy the day and hear birds. And it's beautiful time to be in the country, man. I love it.
What was the idea for the park?
Oh, the park started, years and years and years ago. It was just this big dirt field, really. It's always nice to have a place with plenty of space. You know, some people grow up with Southern California, and this would be the biggest slab of grass outside of a baseball field. And so we built this just to have it soften, right? Entrance into town, little lights up, people eat lunch here. There's people that walk their dog here every single day and play catch and throw it in the field, and then everybody, you know, can park out in the field and stuff. But
so you rent this out?
yeah, people can rent it out, and we do like we do concerts and stuff in here. Like we've done stuff, fundraisers for the school. Mostly it's just a totally open area for anybody to come and enjoy. It's a bad financial decision, but a good community decision, you know. If you're watching this and think it's easy, it's like, no, you're wrong, right? Because this is 7 days a week, 365. For 7 years, it's 6 years. I didn't take one day off, and I was just pouring behind the bar, starting at 11 to 5, and then getting everything else done as well. And every piece about this is tenacity. Tenacity beats talent. And I figured if everybody else is working 8 hours a day, if I was working 12, every day I was picking up half a day on it, right? And half a day and half a day. If you own a business, you started it for a reason. You need to remember what that reason was. You need to have that renew you. And then you have to keep every day just pushing your rock, push your rock, push your rock, push your rock, push your rock, just an inch, you know? And if you keep doing that, somehow, like, you know, 25 years, you're a 25-year overnight success, right? And then everybody calls you lucky. But they don't see all the effort and all the time. And like just walking around here, I've already seen like 12 things that I'm like, I need to fix that, I need to fix that. And nothing's ever perfect. It always feels like it's falling apart all the time, and you're duct taping it together and moving forward, right? At any point, if anybody thinks any of this is easy, that's insane, because every part of this is hard. And the best way to describe it, my son said, hey, isn't it great you don't have a boss? And I said, no, I have a boss. I just don't know what it is today. Because something's gonna break, something's gonna be a tragedy, something's gonna be like, oh my gosh, you know, all of that. Like we have no IT company, it's just us, right? If the speakers aren't playing, it's just us. If nothing's printing, it's just us. So we have to become very capable, fix it, move forward, and then try to elevate and elevate and elevate. And the second part of that conversation with my son, he goes, how much money do you make? And I said, $0 a year. And he goes, what do you mean, zero? I said, yeah, but every time I don't pay someone to do something, I get to keep that money. So I designed the labels because I didn't have the money to pay someone, right? I got Illustrator and figured it out. Every step along the way, we just figured it out. We just figured it out, just figured it out. And then pretty soon you figure out enough stuff that you start leading. And now we're doing things in the vineyard that are making its way into textbooks in the future. We're doing stuff that is so far ahead of the curve that it's unbelievable. And it just feels normal. But the last part of that, you know, this is turned into a business thing, is I don't take a lot of I don't revel in any of it. Like I don't feel great about oh yeah, I did it, you know, because I feel it's my duty and responsibility to have done it. So there's not the dopamine kick of yeah, heck yeah, you know, or someone handing you an award or anything like that, because no, this is what we had to do. So why would I get an award for that? You know, it's a tricky place to keep your emotions in check, but also be so emotional that it pushes you to succeed and to work harder than everybody else, but then also get it done and not, you know, when you go home at night, not be a jerk too. So yeah, it's a nightmare, but it's a lot of fun, but it's a nightmare.